What's going on, guys? It's GBP baby. Welcome back to the only channel on YouTube calling the markets with this much accuracy. And yeah, if you're new to the channel and you haven't watched any videos before, go to my weekly review for this week and check out yesterday's video as well, just so that you have an idea of where I am in terms of my accuracy this week in terms of the market delivery. But yeah, I'm going to get straight into things. So if you haven't watched yesterday's video or the day before that, then make sure to go check them out because I'm not going to be re-explaining myself. So let's get straight into things. So here is Tuesday's delivery. We traded nicely into the fair value gap that I brought our attention to. And if you remember on my weekly review on Sunday, I was stating that I'm happy for price to trade into it, but I don't want to see us close above the 50% level of it. So the fact that we have respected that 50% level and pretty much respected the low of it as well, it's really nice for me to see. You can see we wicked right above there, and I'll show you exactly what we actually traded to once we get to the lower time frames. But yeah, it was a pretty solid day, very accurate if you watch yesterday's video, and it's nice to see that we can probably start looking for downside delivery for the rest of the week. So you'll see that I still have this grey imbalance marked out, and the reason for that is because I'm looking for price to start to seek to trade into this and through it on the downside. So that's what I've got this is where I've got my eyes set on moving into Wednesday and into Thursday and Friday. Now Wednesday doesn't have any high impact news on the dollar, GBP does, so that's going to be interesting, but I wouldn't be surprised if we were quite consolidated on Wednesday and then saw more movement on the Thursday and Friday. But yeah, pretty solid day. Let's go down to the 4 hour and you'll see how price traded up, right up, rebalancing with this low right here. We traded into that, and then again look at the volume, respecting that 50% level. This is, you can't get any more precise than that. Look at that, beautiful, turned around, and since then we've just been trading lower, which is nice to see. Now if you did watch my Sunday video, I did say that price may want to draw up into this fair value gap right here, and that is exactly what price did. We traded higher, running out this buy side liquidity, which I brought our attention to also in yesterday's video. I was saying I wanted to see that get swept. We traded above that and we traded into this fair value gap. Now this fair value gap was coupled with this breaker, high, low, higher high, and then we've broken to the downside. So price traded up into that breaker, and that's why we're seeing the beautiful reaction we have off of it now. So price is going exactly as we want, which is perfect. And now I'm going to start looking for sell side targets to get traded to. So in terms of moving into the new day, I'm going to be looking for Tuesday's low to get taken out and potentially start trading into these relative equal lows in this imbalance I was talking about. So I definitely have my eyes set on this sell side as a draw on liquidity. And then in terms of the range we've created here, price may want to come back up to this order block. We can drop down to the 15 minute and see if we can identify a breaker. So here we have a breaker. This is the last down close candle before the up move that's caused this large expansion downwards. So I am going to be watching the low of this because this is where the change in the state of delivery happened. As in, once this candle closed below here, price started delivering lower, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if price wanted to if price wants to come back to this level to rebalance it. So I'm going to draw this out as, again, maybe during London or during the Asian session, price may want to return back to there before we see proper expansion lower. But what I'm watching is this candle, this down close candle right here, to continue to push price lower. I do believe this is the high of the week, preferably it is. If that's the case, then obviously we can start looking for sell stops below here, relative equal lows below here, with a potential reach for our weekly target down here, depending on how volatile we are. But yeah, moving into tomorrow, there isn't any high impact news, but I'd like to think that we can still see some downwards movement. Again, creating the high of the day around here, if it wants to return back to this level, which it very may well do. It very may well do, and that's completely fine. And then I'd start expecting continuation to the downside. So you can see it's kind of just taking its very good time getting down here, no rush whatsoever. Fair value gap here. So again, I wouldn't be surprised if price filled the fair value gap, then came back up, then broke down. You know, it's gonna take its time, but I'm definitely watching this swing low. So definitely have that marked out on your charts, guys. And like I said, this is my target moving into Wednesday. If it doesn't trade into on Wednesday, then Thursday and Friday I'll start targeting that. Let's say price trades through this level aggressively. If we start trading higher aggressively, then we'll simply start looking for these highs to get ran. But I highly doubt that's going to happen because on the higher time frame we are heavily bearish. So that's what I'm looking to happen. And yeah, hopefully that's going to continue. So let's go on to GBP USD. And I'm going to start on the daily here as well. And again, if you haven't watched yesterday's video, go and watch it, and you'll see price traded down into its fair value gap again beautifully. We overlapped with this wick, so you can see that this range is now rebalanced. More specifically, you can see we traded to the 50% level of that. You can't make this stuff up, guys. Look at that. Traded into that and then came off of it. And we were also trading into a daily breaker, which I did also bring our attention to. So we have a low, a high, a lower low, and then price is delivered to the upside. So I was watching this up close candle right here, and you can see our price traded right into the high of that, giving us a nice reaction off of it. So that's been beautifully delivered. So now I'm expecting to start looking at Friday's swing high from last week to get targeted. So everything's pretty much going to plan, which is nice to see. Got some buy side liquidity right there. Obviously we've got Tuesday's high and Monday's high now to start working our way towards. The lowest I want to see price trade tomorrow is going to be 50% level of the range it's created. So I'm going to get that marked out. That's what we call consequent encroachment. So let's just get that marked out. And I want price to respect that. If price trades any lower than that, then I'll probably get out the charts, and not get out the charts, but I'd be expecting us to dig deeper and trade into this fair value gap. But like I said, ideally that's not what's going to be happening. But yeah, we have consequent encroachment marked out now. So when we drop down to the lower time frames, we can see what's the lowest we expect price to trade. Now I'm not saying it has to go down there, but if it does want to start trading lower, this is the lowest I'm going to allow it before, you know, my idea of higher prices changes. So you can see again came lower, turned at that 50% level. If we look at the 25% level, you can kind of eyeball it. 25% level is about there. After daily fair value gap, 25% level is about here, isn't it? And you can see how we turned at that level and have started expanding to the upside, which is great. So we can go to the 1 hour, and again, as we're trading through this level, I'm watching, this is going to act as our breaker. If as soon as we trade above there, I'd like to think that this can act as a breaker. I doubt price is going to need to come all the way back down here, so I probably wouldn't worry about that. This 50% level, this order block here, we very may well. So if we drop down to the low time frame, hopefully we can find where the change in the state of delivery was and look at that level a bit like how we're looking at this level on dollar as a potential, you know, drawing point to create a swing before we move lower. So let's just go back to GBP, and I'm looking at this swing high right now, and I'm going to make it orange. Let's just drop down to a lower time frame, and you'll see that that swing high is this up close candle. And the reason I marked this one out is because right here we traded through, change in state of delivery, hunting for buy stops. Yes, this is going to act as a breaker on a higher time frame, but in terms of the range we've created now, I'm looking at this level to get retraded to before we trade higher. You can see we've already traded down into this order block, traded higher, created a wick there. What's this? Engineered liquidity. So there's going to be sell stops below this low. Price may want to come, grab that, and then trade higher, running for these relative equal highs here and here, and again to start working towards our higher targets up here. So that's how I'm looking at price right now. And you guys should definitely mark out everything I have marked out. I'm not saying price has to come down here, because it really doesn't. We could simply expand and just find support on top of the daily and start trading high into relative equal highs. But again, if we're expecting higher prices, we should also expect some kind of manipulation, right? And there's high impact news on pound. So I'm looking for price to come down, create some kind of low, which I'd like to think will happen in this range from this high to this low, where this level is delineated, for us to then hunt for longs into the buy stops. Now, I'm not expecting price to necessarily reach this high tomorrow, but you can see we do have relative equal highs here. So price may want to draw to that for buy side liquidity. Ooh. And then we also have some more highs up there. So there are levels that price is going to seek to trade up to. There's also a fair value gap up there. So we just need to watch how price gets there. And our first target realistically should be here. Yeah, so it's just a matter of waiting. Again, even it's very possible Asia session may even trade down here, or we may consolidate and then London opens, creates a low and trades higher. So yeah, should be interesting to say the least. But that's everything on pound. Very beautiful day. Let's now go to euro to finish. So I'm going to start on the daily on euro. Again, I'm looking at this weekly fair value gap to get targeted. We traded down into a weekly implied fair value gap. This is the implied fair value gap right here between this low and this open is an implied fair value gap, and you can see our price traded nicely into that. If we drop down to the daily, you'll see we traded down past this fair value gap, rebalancing with this wick completely fine, and then we came off of it just like so. So again, what am I expecting? Well, If we have lower prices, the lowest I want to see price go is going to be 50% of this wick, because that should get respected. So we'll get that marked out. And again, it doesn't have to go down there. It's just the lowest I'm allowing price to go before I consider any other, biases. We'll go down to the 4 hour. You can see our price traded back down into that orange range, which is this simple daily fair value gap right here. That's that on the 4 hour. So you can see we wicked down, but look at volume. Guys, pay attention to volume. You can see we wicked down into this breaker. Again, yesterday's video, I brought our attention to these levels. Honestly, if you haven't watched yesterday's video, go watch it. But I brought our attention to these levels, saying price may want to dip down into that. Look at that, beautiful. Tapped it twice, and now we're coming off of it. And look at the volume, staying above that fair value gap. So that's again supportive of higher prices. Drop down to the 1 hour. You can see our price is just slowly making its way out of there. I think Euro's a little bit weaker right now, which is not a problem. If we drop down to the 15 minute, we should be able to find the state and change in the state of delivery. Now I don't think, let me see, 5 minute. So I'm looking at this swing high to see price come back to it. So price again creates the low. I'd like to think it can create the low down here for us to then think about longs into buy side liquidity up here and relative equal highs with the expectation to eventually reach up here. So this is our this is my weekly target, to be honest. Like end of week, I want to be up there, to be honest. But in terms of the next 2 days, I'm looking at these relative equal highs to get targeted. But again, as I was saying before that, price very well may want to come down first, grab some more stops, and then work its way up, because you can see there's a very high resistance movement up, and I wouldn't be surprised if we want to manipulate, come down, create a Judas swing maybe during London, and then start looking for longs for the rest of the day. So yeah, today the delivery is going very smoothly. What you can do as well, if you want to be more precise, you can draw this fair value gap out on the 5 minute, and when price trades below that, we know that we should be hunting for longs, and then once we trade through it, we can look for longs from here as well, as in price should find support on top of this to trade higher. But we'll see that later on in the day. But overall, I'm looking for price to draw back into its range and then trade higher for the rest of the week. So yeah, been a really good week so far. Make sure to watch previous videos, smash that subscribe button, join the Discord, I'm active in there, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace. Oh, one more thing actually, guys, something to take note of. So this is the British pound futures, right? You'll see that the British pound futures has made a higher high here. So you see that happened after CPI today. So GBP came down, made a higher high, and it's been trading higher since, right? When we look at GBP USD, you'll see that GBP USD made a lower low. Let me say that again. GBP made a higher low, here, and traded higher. And GBP USD made a lower low here. So the strength we're seeing in GBP futures is more significant, right? And it's showing strength on pound side. So as this was happening, as this low was forming here, we should have known, and we could have looked at GBP USD like, okay, well, the futures is showing a willingness to want to go higher, so that's supportive of higher prices, and that would have set us up for a nice long position. Fair value gap comes down into there, and then we could have been long, running up to where we are at now, closing in this fair value gap completely, like so. So yeah, very interesting, something to study. Hope you found this insightful, guys, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Peace.